Yes, Malika, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, let's begin because it's 2:07 and there are many people have joined on time, so we need to respect that. Yes, over to you, Malika.
A very good evening, everyone. I extend a warm welcome to all distinguished HR leaders, corporate trainers, coaches, and learners. Thank you for joining us today. I am Malika from the Corporate Relations and Placement team at 𝗥𝗧𝗧 Professional Training, where we empower working professionals to upskill and fast forward their careers. Our professional certificate, accredited by top bodies like SHRM, HRCI, CPD, and IBAC, include programs such as HR Generalist, HR Analytics, POSH Train the Trainer, Business Analytics, and Business Analytics for Managers, Corporate Trainers, and Coach Certification, and many more. Additionally, we offer customized corporate training programs in areas like leadership, sales, diversity, inclusion, various soft skill training programs. You can cooperate with us on 3 levels, such as to get professional certification for personal growth, to conduct corporate training program in your own organization, and to hire HR talent from 𝗥𝗧𝗧. We provide career assistance to all our credit certified HR professionals. We have helped more than 200 companies to get HR talent at no cost across pan-India level. It is my honor to introduce today's distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Rakesh Ranjan. I welcome you, sir. Rakesh is a seasoned HR leader with excellent work accomplishment in areas of HRM and IR, ER. Rakesh is passionate about creating value to business through human capital. He worked with multiple industries like IT, retail, manufacturing, automobile, e-commerce, and aviation. He has worked with brands like Titan, BMW, Flipkart, Selby Aviation, and many more. Presently, he is working as Head of Human Resources in Worldwide Flight Services. His core strengths are IR, ER, employment laws, APEC, OD, and many more. Thank you, sir, for taking out your time for us today.
Thank you. That's my pleasure.
We also have our moderator for today's session, Dr. Aparna Sethi, who is also the founder of 𝗥𝗧𝗧, who comes with 20 years of experience in HR. She has worked in various industries like manufacturing, services, and in academics. She started 𝗥𝗧𝗧 professional training 5.5 years back with the clear objective of imparting and uplifting lives by imparting professional training. Welcome, ma'am. We also have Mr. Rahul Sethi, Director of 𝗥𝗧𝗧, with us too. Welcome, sir. Thank you for patient listening. So now over to you, Dr. Aparna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And let me tell you, today's day is a very special day. Yes, we have our guest, and you have heard a lot about him, that how he has worked, where he has worked, what are the brands he has worked. But there is a different story here, and which is very special, heartwarming moment for me, honestly speaking, because here we are celebrating actually the success, growth, as well as the kind of inspiration he has given, not only for, to us, but also many more young HR professionals. Now, you must be thinking why I'm so joyful and why I'm happy about it. Because Rakesh was also my student. So I'm deeply honored to have an interaction with Rakesh. who is a CR, one of the best CRs, I must say, of batch 2010 and 12. Right, Rakesh?
Yeah.
I think as an educator, as a trainer, there is no great reward than this, because ultimately what matters for any educator and trainer is the progress and success of his or her students. Am I right? So this is our really great moment, and let's put our hands together for a very warm welcome to Rakesh. And thank you, Rakesh, for showing your willingness and, for taking out time from your busy schedule, because I can also see you're still sitting in the office, right? However, I can assure all the participants here that, you will have a great, insightful session today. Okay, so is there any lag when I'm speaking? Just let me know. Rakesh, is there any lag?
Not much, but
Not
I guess, yeah, not much.
Okay, great. So wonderful. And when I was speaking to Rakesh regarding a topic, I said, let's talk about employee relations. HR plays a crucial role in HR relations, employee relations, right? However, Rakesh mentioned one line in the conversation that let's also add IR to this, because somewhere people are thinking that HR is only about employee relations and IR is taking little backseat. So that shows his passion towards IR too. And on that note, the very first question I would like to ask you, Rakesh, that is, what is the fundamental difference between IR and ER, that is industrial relations and employee relations? Over to you.
Sure, ma'am. So yes, of course, it's a very close to my heart topic, which is industrial relations. So now, though I don't want to sound like a very academic answer to this, but I'll tell from what my experiences and what I believe. So employee relations is the base. When it has when it takes a turn, when workmen, according to Industrial Dispute Act, as per the section 2S definition of it, and then if it goes into an issue between employer or between employers, normally in what we deal with, it is always between an employee and an employer. So if it takes a legal angle to it, then it gets the tinge of industrial relations. But otherwise, it's all employee relations, and it's employee relations is the basic even for industrial relations. Only difference is that you only term out industrial relations when you have to deal with Industrial Dispute Act, and you get into a litigation, and then you start looking at the legal angle of that relationship. Then probably it takes an angle of industrial relation. That is my understanding. That's my learning over the years.
That's wonderful to know. So one note for all the audience and participants here, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box. However, we will be also having Q&A session towards the end. So feel free to keep your questions ready. Okay, so that's wonderful. However, when we speak about employee relationship, right? So if you can elaborate more on that role of HR in employee relationship, what is that exactly? Because we have many young and aspiring HR professionals here. Basically, they know about it's a hiring, it's, or maybe it's a payroll management, or it is strategic human resource management. However, when we speak about ER, that is employee relationship, what are the specific duties HR needs to perform?
So when it comes to employee relations, then the basics is, everything is business. One thing, ma'am, that I always believe that, when I speak to youngsters on why do you want to become an HR, if somebody tells me I'm a people's person, that is one answer that I'm not very fond of, because, once you get into business, it is all about business. So you have to have a business case, an angle of business understanding. Otherwise, whatever you do does not make sense. So from the same angle, employee relations means if you are in a labor intensive industry, if people are core to your business, then it is, I mean, there is no other way than having this particular talent. I mean, I do not even want to call it a resource. This particular, employee base, that is the core of your business. And if you realize that, then there is no other better way to bring your business up than understanding what the employee needs, what are their requirements, how do you meet them, how do you retain them, how do you keep them motivated and all that. So, and a means of doing it, to term it, is employee relations. What are the different tasks and activities that you do in that? Let's split it into verticals. Employee engagement, then you need to, for me, employee engagement is not just engaging employees. Most of the times youngsters believe employee engagement is about playing games and ensuring that people are happy, and all the pictures that you see on LinkedIn and other social medias on people celebrating and dancing around. For me, employee engagement means people should have meaningful job to do from the time they report to work to the time they punch out. If there is no meaningful engagement, and that engagement partially can be work, partially can be fun, partially can be learning, or anything. But if there is no meaningful engagement, then you don't give someone a meaningful job to do, and they don't want to stay there anymore. So that part is engagement for me. Another part of employee relations for an HR is to listen. You should have multiple connect programs, which sometimes is parked under employee engagement, sometimes it is employee relations, but an active listening to understand what employees are expecting, what are they going through, what is employees' expectation from the organization, and what is organization's expectation from employee, to connect this. And that is a very critical role that HR needs to play in employee relations. Because especially dealing with youngsters, the Gen Y and the millennials, unless and until you connect them with the big picture, I mean, they lose the bus. And if that is the case, then you see high attrition, and then then of course, like I said, it becomes a business case. Then attrition, and then cost, and then rehiring, and the institutional memory loss. So all these things come into play, where the management will come back and ask, hey, as HR, what are you doing? I mean, what employee relations are you doing? So specifically to answer the question, it is engagement, it is communication, it is engagement through training programs, it is engagement through the right policy making. Once you listen to the employees, you need to understand and tweak the culture and the system, in a way of policy making and implementing that. So I think, a sum of all these things would result in good employee relations. And of course, all of this depends on the need of the business in whichever organization, whatever business it is, and it keeps changing.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, you have given us really great insights. I mean, deep understanding about listening. I think, when I work with our HR team, I also say that you need to listen, and not only listen from only words.
Yeah.
Those simple corridor talks, what's happening over the lunch break, the body language, that deep understanding and deep listening is so very important when it comes to listening to employees, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
And it is not gossiping, but it is about right messaging. Without mentioning people's name, maybe we can convey really great message to the management and bring required changes. Yes. However, Rakesh, many HR professionals speak on this area, in this area also. That is, okay, we need to maintain a great relationship with employees is fine. But how to bring employer and employee on the same platform? How to make management understand what employees are facing, and we need to work on it.
Yeah. So, like I said, one is listening. I mean, two aspects. I still hold on to the same thing, two aspects. One is, as an HR, you need to understand what is the business requirement, where the business is heading, and what is the need of the hour for the business. And only if you understand that, then you, with your understanding and sense of what is happening with the largest talent in your organization, which is employees, what they feel and what needs to be done for the employees. Once you understand that, it is not just enough to understand. You need to present it to the business as a business case. Then only business will listen. Because like I said, business leaders have very short attention span and very short focus points. If you have to really get the attention of your CEO and CFO to understand, okay, this is what we need to do, and this is going to fetch us what we are trying to do, the larger goal, and this is going to get us closer to that. Then you need to have both these. You need to have a very good understanding of the business. You need to have very good understanding of the people. How do you do that? Multiple things. Like I said, all these communications and all these things that you do, like you mentioned, ma'am, you just need to listen beyond the words that they say. You should be able to sense it. You should be able to do trends. I can say, for example, what I normally do in my team, which I've done in my past organizations, which has been successful, is continuous employee connect program. I always tell my team, please meet employees in groups of 10, 5, 7, 6, whatever it is convenient for you. And whenever you meet, have multiple conversations. Always ask about basic things. Where are they from? What are their family about? Understand each employee as close as possible, and then go on to the topics, and always jot down when you come back, jot down what are the things that you took away from them. Put that into an Excel sheet. Just continue this. Over the months, you will have so many points, then try to find trends in that. Then okay, if you are getting a lot of points repeated, and if that is showing some trend, then that is a business case that you can then talk to the management. You should understand also what is the requirement of the business, and then understand, okay, any of these points, any trend, is it going to be detrimental to the business at some point of time? If yes, is it going to be positive for the business at some point? Both can be. If that is the case, then you need to communicate to the management, this is how it is going to happen. Same other ways. Most of the times it is about business trying to understand what the employee are expecting from the business. There are other situations also. Say, for example, I handled the COVID time. I had to let go of 700 people at one point. And I was heading HR and IR, and it was a labor intensive industry, and to send out 700 people without having a single industrial relation problem in one of the most difficult industrial relations market, which is Kerala, it was very difficult for me. And how did it happen? It is through, again, communicating back to the employees on what the business is, where the business is, what is the challenge now, how can we deal with it. So HR most of the times will have to take this middle seat and understand both sides and balance it. It is a very difficult balancing act because you play with emotions of people. Most of the times you play with critical business decisions. If something goes wrong, the impact can be huge. But so then you need to understand both and balance both sides. So once employees understand, yes, this is the business, and if their worries are addressed properly, then people are generally understanding. There is no rocket science. I think even rocket science is not rocket science if you just simplify it and deal with it in the right way. So I think these kind of interactions, understanding both sides and able to connect the dots on both sides effectively, I think that as an HR, if you're able to do, then what you have asked can be done, ma'am, of connecting both sides, making both sides understand each other's concerns and address it.
Wonderful. Sometimes we feel that when the company is small, when you have limited people in your company, it becomes quite easy to connect with them, right? Like, for example, when maybe you were HR executive, that is the time you were very closely working with the team. But over a period of time, when you start growing in your career, when the company start growing, it becomes very tough sometimes to keep the same connect, keep the same culture, keep having the same communication with them. How do you manage that? I mean, how HR make sure that, this information, this way of working, this philosophy, even the entry level people are following? How do you make sure that in your team?
Very good question, ma'am, because when I first came into the C-suite, I was also worried. I mean, am I going to lose that? I mean, will I still be able to please everybody? Because, most of the times being in C-suite is not about, having friends around, and you are told that you're not here to make friends. So in such situations, if you have to still be grounded and leave the same values and walk the talk, it is challenging, but you can still do it. I mean, one of the reasons I have taken this particular assignment currently with WFS, it's the world's largest air cargo handling company, and it is entering India first time. And this is like a startup. So I joined as the second employee, and I got to pick up all the leaders, choose very carefully. And, the most exciting thing is how will I set up that culture from the scratch and sustain it. So a lot of things can be done, and it starts with walking the talk, because you as a leader, if you can still walk the floor, you can still talk to the employees. When you say I have an open door policy, do you really do that? And I love one of the, I think it was Simon Sinek's talk that I heard recently. I could resonate with it, because most of the times when you walk the corridor, there are a lot of people who will say good morning, sir, and most of the times you say good morning, how are you, and you don't even wait to listen what they say as an answer. If you can stop and listen to them, that is going to make a huge difference. If you can remember people's name when you meet at least people in groups of 20, and then in the next meeting, if you call them by name, that will make a huge difference. If somebody has taken a leave and a special approval came to you because there is no leave, and it has to be a leave without pay, but then or an additional payout, or an this thing, and then you meet the employee, and then you remember. I mean, you always meet the employee if you walk. If you're not sitting in your cabin, you will meet people. But if you can meet them, and if you can remember that, okay, this is the person who had a family emergency, this is the person who had a medical emergency, and ask them, hey, how are you doing? Is it all okay? This is going to make a huge difference. So I think this is what I do.
Every word is relatable. Because, currently, if you look at where I stand right now, is yes, there are 2-3 roles comes, when you are an entrepreneur, there is no particular role. Whatever comes in on your plate, you have to just, keep eating and keep completing that task. And in that race, sometimes it may happen that, the connect with employees may go, as you said, how you wish good morning also makes such a huge difference.
Yes.
Such a huge difference. I think, yes, we also had a session in between last week, and we were saying, are you developing those bonds with people? Like, my leaders come sometimes and say, madam, if you say, they will listen to you. If you send an email, they will. I said, where is your influence? Where is your relationship? Because many people will not work with you only for authority, but they will work you because of the relation which we share.
Correct.
Isn't it? So that is so very important for all of us, right? Now, I would like to know, maybe a slight deviation, but I'm not able to stop, because the youngsters who are attending this session, they must be having this question in their mind. Now, what is it that I want to know? Little apart from this discussion, you said many times you conduct interviews, and most of the HR people come and tell you that
I'm a people's person.
I'm a people's person. And that is not sufficient. So what are the answers you expect from them?
I'm not expecting, I mean, if it is freshers, frankly, I'm not expecting any particular answers, but I'm expecting common sense. I'm expecting not a very high level of lateral thinking, but at least are they able to think on their feet? Can they be in, in the place where they are at that moment and, respond and think on their feet? If that is there, and if they have an attitude that they are exhibiting, which resonates with what I need in my team or my organization, then I hire them. Because what we are doing here is not rocket science, like I said. If you have that right attitude, and if you have some basic, understanding of what you have done, if you have that passion of what you have done before, then obviously, you would have invested enough time and energy and resources to gain the subject matter, knowledge or expertise that is required. So I'm not expecting any specific answer, but people's person is not the only thing that is going to excite me to hire somebody.
Now let me ask you in the style of Ranveer, who runs talk show, right? So, the thing is this, you have spoken two words, common sense and attitude. I think these are the words we learn since very long time. And everyone thinks, I don't have attitude and I have common sense. Would you like to elaborate a little bit? Would you like to give any example where we will get to know that this is called common sense and this is called attitude?
Very difficult, huh? Very difficult. But I also don't.
You can explain it to us as if you are explaining it to 5 years old.
Yes, interesting thing. Most of the times, people think that, interviewers, when they do interview, are going by their hunch. Frankly, no, because I'm sure all the youngsters, they would have fresh in their mind of, things that we have learned in MBA, ma'am, about the biases and all that. I mean, nowhere after that I have used it, but then I would have done thousands of interviews after that. But then there is a point when you start subconsciously practicing all those things, all those, OB concepts that you have learned, but there is something that came beyond those concepts, which is practice, and what came with practice to you, that you don't take any more bluff. Because, you have been there, you have done that so many times that you now know when somebody starts talking about a topic, if they really mean what they say, if it is a made up thing. And I don't even mind if somebody says I'm a people's person, but if they can answer the second question also on, why do they say that, and with the real passion and, understanding of how did they do that, then of course I get convinced. But if it is like a made up answer, if it is like a mugged up answer, then that is where I sense lack of, lack of attitude and lack of common sense. So
absolutely, I think ChatGPT can help us to build great resumes and can help us to get the shortlisting done. But during the interview, what makes a difference, and you just cannot cook the things. It's very important to remain grounded. Tell what I have done, what I have not done. Right?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah. So, some people, ma'am, when they come for the interview itself, you can sense, and most of the time, see, sometimes there are excellent candidates, attitude wise, maybe, they're not wrong. But then, you are in an interview panel and you have people who are creating that organization. There are multiple factors that they think of. Maybe there is a great resource, but at this point of time, that is not, the peg that you want to put in the team that you currently build. So I tell everybody, I mean, even if you lose an interview, please don't be disheartened, because it just means that you are not at the right place at the right time. Your place is a bit different, or they are looking for something different, not you. It doesn't mean you are useless or you don't have anything. So, I mean, please, if anybody is listening to me and think that, everybody looks for common sense, and if you got rejected in an interview, you don't have common sense. No, it doesn't mean that way. I mean, it just means that they are looking for something else. And I mean, after beyond a point, like I said, now I'm building an organization. I own every interview. I tell that I should be there in an interview because sometimes some of the things that they are interviewing technically, I know nothing about it. But then still I talk to the candidate for half an hour, if it is senior level positions, because I say that, some people, when they come to the organization, I don't want people like that. I want people like this. Because, all these things, like I said, when you walk the talk and you want the entire tone from the top to be same, then, I have to go by that. And even if somebody is a very good subject matter expert, but I don't feel that they fit in the team, then I will have to take this harsh decision that, okay, I have to reject this candidate. But that is for the organization, no personal thing in that.
Absolutely. And many people are also writing cultural fitment. Yes.
Yeah,
every company will have that, as people are saying.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you one question. You have worked in various industries.
Yeah.
You have worked with Titan, you have worked with Celebi, you have worked with Flipkart, retail industry. What do you think, Rakesh? Is managing people changes or employee relationship changes as per the industry? What will be your answer?
Not employee relations, not much, because I worked in different industries. And also connecting with something that ma'am told earlier, I'm seeing a lot of interesting questions that come up. I'm assuming that we will get to talk about it later. Yes. So, when I was dealing with industrial relations, touch wood, by God's grace and because of a lot of good mentors that I've had, I was able to achieve a lot of things. In Delhi Cargo Terminal, I did the first settlement with the trade union, which was there, from 1986. I was just born then. And first time in history, they signed a settlement. And first time in history, when I was there, there has not been a single strike or a single go slow, where the norm was every year there is at least 4 strike and multiple go slows. So, and people ask, what did you do? What magic do you do? What is it with you? Frankly, nothing. It is just that I respect people, and I believe that God has given this ability to every individual on gauging how genuine is the person talking who is sitting in front of me. I think that everybody has. Life experiences and whatever they have gone through might vary their perceptions in judging that, but everybody has that quality. So if you are genuine, if you are genuinely trying to solve somebody's problem, if you are genuinely trying to help somebody, people can sense it. So sometimes in some of the old school IR discussions and cases, I've seen that people think that it is some kind of a jugaad that you play with people's mind and get to walk away with success, and it is never. So one of my mentors used to say that if you are a good IR leader, you have to be a good union leader also, because unless and until people find you better than their union leader, they will never listen to you. So you have to be charismatic, you have to be engaging, you have to be the people's person, you have to be solving their problems. Otherwise nobody will listen to you. Just because you have power, just because you are in authority, nobody is going to listen to you. Especially when it transitions from employee relations to industrial relations, that is a problem, because then the equation entirely changes. So if you are genuinely trying to understand people, like you also mentioned, listening is not just listening. If you're trying to listen beyond the words, then people connect with you, and only through that connect can you then bring in changes. Can you then change a people's thought process in a group? It is not about convincing one person. If you have to convince 100 people to do something,
yes,
then you need to know how a herd behavior works, how to identify opinion leaders, how do you transition people's thought process through influencing certain number of people, and how do you gain those people's trust? How do you trade off something that the organization or the leadership wants, at the same time letting them also win? So it has to be a win-win always. There is never a win-lose. So even if people think that, you won, no, it was never a win on one side. It is always a win on both sides. And it only works like that. Otherwise, even if it works once, it will never be sustainable. I believe it strongly.
How interesting. How interesting. I mean, sometimes I feel all the time having win-win is tough, because sometimes management, employer management will also have their own agenda, right? Which may not be very specifically targeted to few groups.
Yep.
However, they just can't help it. Like in COVID, none of the company wanted to shut down. None of the company wanted their employees to ask to go home, but it is not in their hand. So win-win was not possible. So I
Yeah.
just would like to ask you, would you like to share any incidents where win-win was tough? However, still you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
Yes.
tell one example where I was doing one. I'll give an example from IR itself. I was doing a settlement with not just one union. I was doing a settlement with a combined union of INTUC, AITUC, CITU, and BMS. All 4 trade union leaders. So it was like a big room. So it was during Flipkart. So while I was handling a business partnering role there, one of the Flipkart mother hubs was being set up, and suddenly this headload workers association in that area came and told that you can't bring anything down. So if there is no goods movement in a Flipkart mother hub, then nothing happens there. Basically, you can just shut it down and go home. So then I had to go and sit down with all these people. See, they come from different ideologies, because they represent 3 different political parties. 2 are from same political party. The other 2 are from 2 different parties. They all sit in one single room. They never talk to each other. And you have to find a single solution with all these 4 people, because they are not ready to talk one-to-one separately. They want a single solution, and they themselves don't know if they can arrive on a solution. And they are sitting in front of you and thinking that you will find a solution. And it has to be okay with everybody. So 100% there is no win-win there. But if you have to get out, then the only way that you have to get out is with a win for you. At least how much can you win? You need to get that win and get out. Because it can go bad also sometimes. So that was a case where then obviously, that is when you listening beyond words and, all the concepts that you have learned about body language, about micro expression analysis, about what do you call
Group dynamics, team management,
anything, you name
everything,
it. And it all has to come subconsciously to you and onto your fingertips, and you should be able to effectively use it. Neuro-linguistic programming, all those. So you will have to use implicit commands. You will have to read somebody's language. You will have to see when you said a word, how each of them reacted and who is on your side and who is leaving your side. So, it's very interesting to say this, but at that point, that's why I always say it's God's grace and good mentors that, help you to get there at that point of time. But I was able to get out of that meeting with a settlement that I signed with all of them, where we were paying about 8 rupees per kilo of baggage that we were paying them. And I signed a settlement with them with 3.2 rupees per kilo. And they agreed that they can do it. And they happily signed that settlement. And then they came out. I don't know if they still realized, or I'm sure they would have realized after 2 days if they did the math. But at least, then people also got surprised. How do you do that? It's just that using at that point of time, because, somebody said, why are we talking about bags? These bags can be multiple kilos. Why are you talking about kilos? Let's count the bags. That was in favor for me. And that is where you as an HR understanding your business is critical.
Yeah.
Because if you just went with your interpersonal skills, that is not going to help you. But you should know how that mother hub worked. What is the kind of consignments that come there? What is the flow of consignments? What is the, when is the peak? When is the trough? How, that business is entirely transitioning. if you know that only, then you will be able to pick that one point and then transition that into a settlement. So I said, wow, great, nice idea. I mean, why are we counting this thing? Let's count the bags, because I know in a Flipkart, this thing, most of the consignment that comes are very low weight bags. Just, the count may be high, but the weights are very low. So then we settle something on the count of the bags, and when we do the math backward with the weight that we have agreed, then the rate comes to very low rate for the kilos that we are doing. So this is one example. I mean, when you can't find a win-win, but most of the other cases it is always a win-win, because like people never would want to let go of anything without getting anything. So you will have
absolutely. That is where our concept of collective bargaining power comes into the picture.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I'm a typical 90s born kid, right? And when I was doing my MBA, and that is the time we had a lot of options of doing MPM, labor laws,
Yeah.
My father also comes from a labor law background. So he was a labor consultant. So he used to go in the court and used to do a lot of things. Looking at him, I always wanted to get into IR, right? So I said, Dada, I want to get into MPM. I will do that, I will do labor laws. And that is the time he gave me he asked me rather one good question. He said, see, labor laws or IR is like you should have a qualities of action hero. And if you want to get into HR, like employee relationship, then you should have a qualities of Shah Rukh Khan, that is employee relation, good, and all these things. So please tell me what qualities you possess more. Because when it is an action hero, there is a risk also. Because, yes, I have seen workers saying to me that, sir, aapke do betiyan hai.
Yeah. This is all there.
That kind of risk is there. In fact, I used to receive phone calls from someone, sir, aaj ye rasta mat lena, kuch bhi ho sakta hai. So he has seen those days, and that's why he asked me, do you like action hero or you like a romantic hero? And I said, I love romantic hero, and I went into HR. Okay. So given option, what is it that your love is? Is it IR or is it ER?
I mean, it was my passion also, ma'am. I mean, it is not just, I did not have this concept of action hero or something, but I loved, the legal aspect of it. Whenever you read a case, and these are the things that comes because of the passion. It is not because people used to ask, you are so young, how you, I mean, I saw some of the comments also that came by now that, it is easy to get a job, but it is not so easy to grow. But then it's the passion. And most of the time when I go to, some youngsters, I mean, if I'm talking to them on a very personal level, and if they ask, so I ask them, I mean, nobody has reached I wake up every day at 3 o'clock. I spend every day at least an hour to learn something new, in HR or in any concepts, whether it is legal or whether it is general HR concepts that are happening, at least in the industry, what is happening, what is the kind of business. I should at least know if any company is trying to hire an HR person with an IR background, with my years of experience. In South India, I know by name who they can choose or who can they reach out. I mean, sometimes spent in Delhi and all that, and with the connects that now mostly in India, I know, okay, how many people are there. I mean, so this does not come easy. Same way, I mean, you can't be an action hero and go to IR and you can come out. No, I mean, in the same examples that I said, it is not just the understanding of business. When I went into that discussion, I also knew what is their weakness, because a head load workers association has an association that is there in Kerala. They have a legal bylaw, and in that bylaw, nobody can register in that association if they are above 60. And I got to know that there are people above 60 in the people who are representing, which means they cannot register there, which means their rates will not apply to them. So I knew that they will have to come down to the rate that I will tell them. This understanding, unless you get that, obviously, knowledge, information is also wealth. So unless you have that knowledge and you went there, then you don't know where to twist when it comes to that if it is no win-win, then 100% you will have to twist somewhere if you have to get out. So these kind of things. So my interest is that. So if I am reading a case, then I love to read the labor law reporter. I mean, every time I always keep subscribing to it. So even Industrial Dispute Act, nobody can take a bare act and read it and understand, okay, this is Industrial Dispute Act, this is what it is. No, if you have to know the interpretation of it, how it was interpreted in different cases, how can how can you read between the lines to interpret what the law says in different ways. So it is an interest. I have that interest. I still have that interest. So my preference, I think I always love to do industrial relations.
So wonderful.
Always.
In the world of no 9-to-5 jobs, in the world of offer shopping, in the world of job hopping, right? It is so nice to meet a passionate person like you. What keeps you going? I mean, why? You got it right. You are there, right there, your package, your designation, you have everything. What makes you get up at 3 o'clock?
I mean, I don't have it. It's
Still, keep going. I mean, what is that?
Every day there is a challenge which is there. There are new things that you get to learn. I mean, sometimes some of the things that I mean, I have not done so many years, ma'am. I mean, there are so many things that I still don't know. So it is a learning always, and that's good. That fire is still there, so I get up.
How do you keep yourself updated?
Read, talk, and so I've done it so long that now if I don't get updated, then that frustration starts. You feel that, yeah. So then you will start seeking for it. So see, for me now, what is exciting for me is nowadays I'm not learning HR. Nowadays I'm learning more of. I mean, I should thank my current leader. So I work very closely with the CEO. I am now learning the nuances of business that normally HR people don't get exposed to. So I ask every day, what is the top line? What is the bottom line? How many tonnages is done? What is the kind of contracts that we do? What is the financial, aspects of the business in itself? So, if you know that as an HR, then you get to bring more value into the business. Then you get to talk to CEO. I mean, if I am today I proposed an R&R program. So I know how much can I propose. I know how much will my, what is the threshold where my CFO will get, uncomfortable. So I just touched that level. So he said, Rakesh, can't we cut this? I said, no, we can't cut this. We will have to do it because I know, so once you know how much can the business afford, how much the business cannot afford, because I know if I go more than that, then that is going to hit the P&L. Without hitting the P&L, if I am able to propose something and then connecting all these requirements. So I said, the employee of the month should bring the family and management should have dinner with the family. So I was like, hey, why? I said, yes, because it is not the gift voucher that you give them that they will remember, but bring the family, give the award in front of the family. Let the family also feel the pride that the employee also feels when he says to somebody that I work at the airport. Let the family also feel that. Give them that experience. That is going to stay forever. Yeah, but it costs more, but I know you can afford it also. So don't talk to me, afford. So,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful, because I think when it comes to HR and finance, sometimes it is proposing and opposing. Right? Proposes and finance opposes. But sometimes they may oppose, right? So what are the things you take care? Like these are the factors HR must look into so that your proposal should not get opposed by anyone. So if you have to mention few factors, what will be those?
P&L. You should know in and out of your company's P&L. You should know how the CFO is preparing the balance sheet, what is the top line and bottom line of your company, and how much is, if there is any HR, I mean, at least when you go to the senior levels, if you don't know how much is the personal cost and what percentage of that is to the entire total revenue, if you know that, most of the times, if you are in a labor intensive industry, then you know that yes, you have a seat at the board because you represent that part of the P&L which is the largest. And if your decisions are not heard, then whose will you hear? And that makes it all the more important for you to propose something telling that, you know what, you spend so much of money on this particular department which I am managing. Please listen to me. This is going to make a difference. So understand your business in and out, how it happens. You should have a knowledge of, what is your top line, bottom line on whatever business you are into. Otherwise, yeah, like you said, ma'am, I mean, you can be an HR, but people won't listen to you. And, and if you grow in the ladder, then you need to have people listening to you.
Wonderful. So now one controversial question I would like to take it. Many people say that HR cannot become a CEO of the company. Any
Very
thought?
much. Yeah, very much. Actually, when I came here, one of the best motivations that I got, that in my competitor that is there in this airport, the CEO was ex-HR. And when I met him and we spoke for some time, he said, wow, great, Rakesh, you should aim to become the CEO. And why do you think I wake up at 3 o'clock now?
That's the secret. That's the secret, right? Wonderful. While you were speaking, you also mentioned about you were very young while, when you were looking at IR things and HR things. I want to quote one line, which I came across, which made me a little disturbed also. One person came and spoke to me that, what is this HR people do? Okay, they have young girls and they're like titliyan. They don't even understand what is our problem is, right? A 40 years old, how can make that young HR understand, or maybe 27 years old, that what is my challenge? They don't have that maturity. So what are your thoughts on it? Like, if young people want to get matured or, want to grow in HR, what will be your advice to them?
Everybody will have challenge in every phase of life when you change. I had that myself when the first time I was proposed to take up a job as a director, when I was just a manager. I mean, I was fortunate and I got promoted, 3 times in a row to become a director in my past organization. I mean, thanks to, again, my mentors and who have recognized that I could do things. But then the first time when I heard this, my simple answer was, I'm not ready. And they said, no, you are ready. I mean, we know you are ready. Then why do you think you are not ready? Because I could not conceive that idea. It is like, you're driving a car and suddenly you start driving a bus because, if there are people who drive, when you sit at the driver's seat, where the corners are. But suddenly when you sit in a bus, it takes some time for you to understand where your corners are, because now you are no more moving that small box, you are moving a bigger box. I had huge challenges. People don't value you. Of course, this problem that you are young. And people look at you with this thing that, how come, I mean, what can you do, type of these things. But at the same time, I mean, if you are in the right organization, you will also get the right encouragement. I mean, I was fortunate to get that. And then let your results speak for you. I mean, be so focused. Don't try to, do anything funny to impress people. Just focus on your deliverables, and then people will automatically start listening to you.
So you said it right. Like when I was young, I was waiting for my hair to get gray. And when my hair got gray, now I'm coloring it because then I should be relatable in this industry. And should
I have left some gray and
purposefully.
It helps because you don't get to prove everybody every time. So sometimes it helps.
Absolutely,
you don't get so much
it
of time
certainly
with
helps.
everyone.
It certainly helps. Wonderful. So, very important question I would like to ask you here, Rakesh, that how freshers can start their journey in the field of HR?
just first of all, understand. I mean, when you say freshers, ma'am, I mean, what I strongly believe, I always tell, people also, your graduation, if you are in the eastern part of the world, most of the times it's your parents' decision. But at least when you do your post-graduation, let it be your decision. By then, you should realize what you do, what you want to do in life. If not 100% figured out, but at least you should have eliminated some of the options that you do not want to do, and then you are taking a path that you really want to go. From then you can still take deviations, but at least you should be sure about where you want to go. Once you have decided it, then please understand that, sometimes I'll tell you this, ma'am. I mean, when I have this conversation with youngsters, I ask them, what job do you want? I want a decent job. In what kind of company? Very good company. Okay. What kind of car do you want to drive? I mean, at least how much? 10 lakhs. How much salary do you want to get? 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh. What kind of house do you want to buy? A 2 BHK. Where? Maybe in the city somewhere. How many people in your life do you know who has all these things that you said? So some say 5, 10, 1. Still, I have not met somebody. I want to be the one. Then I say, how many people do you know in total? So thousands of people, sometimes lakhs of people, depending on, I mean, if you are on Facebook and Instagram and all that. But still, if you know only so many people in your life who have achieved and you want to achieve what they achieved, are you ready to do what they have done? If not, then you are in fool's paradise. No, I mean, you are not ready to do what they did and you want to get what they have, then it doesn't work that way. Simple equation. So if you don't do hard work in the beginning of your career, then there is no success. If somebody looks at me and says that, Rakesh, you have grown very fast, I have gone to my first job and I have returned home next day morning, 3 o'clock, which means 2 days I was there in office. So, I mean, but I don't regret it. And then I regretted it, but now I know that is what got me here. I have been handling so many things and people used to tell that, hey, Rakesh, you are more busy than the MD's appointment we are able to get. What are you doing? Because I used to go and I used to come back at 12 o'clock, at night, evenings I go to meet the advocates. I sit with them. I discuss IR cases. By the time they complete their story and come to the case and talk itself, it is 8 o'clock. And after finishing all that, when I get back to home, it is about 12 o'clock. It doesn't come easy. So be ready to put the hard work if you want to grow. And please do not think any job is mean, because when you are a fresher, then it is about exploring, understanding. You still have not made up your mind on what you want to do. If it is HR, even in HR, there are a lot of things. There is talent acquisition, there is training, there is employee relations, engagement, business partnering, now analytics, HRMS. There are so many things that are coming up, and you are never a fresher. So always see your career like what do you call that? Hourglass. So be a generalist. Do everything that is possible that you can get your hands on in the beginning of your career. By the mid of your career, you know what is your strong area. So if you ask me, my strong area is IR. I can sell IR anything, anytime. You give me, because I have credentials. But when I started understanding this is what I need to do, I never had anything. Now I can be confident. You put me anywhere, I know what I can do. That is my core strength area. But now as a head of HR, I cannot say that I am an IR expert. No, I have to learn training. I need to know what are the, I mean, as an IR, I never had to talk to somebody about Kirkpatrick's model or all, and now I have to talk because I need to know that. And, when admin things are there, generalist HR things are there, CNB is there, entire payroll every month, before it goes out, I have sleepless night. So it is there. So when you are going on the top, then you will need to be a generalist again. So
absolutely.
Get your hands on anything that you can get, learn it, still explore and find your way. I think this is what I can tell youngsters. Never think that your first job is going to be your last job, you will retire there and, this is going to predict your future. No, get an opening anywhere, start doing the job, give your 100% to it.
Absolutely. I think you have said it very well. And there are a lot of comments are coming for freshers, the comment. I think, as you said very rightly, there is no one fresher at the age of 22 or 23. When they come for the interview for sales, for HR, everywhere, I ask them one question: who has inspired you? What was that moment when you felt the HR is meant for me? When did you fall in love with this function? Right? And they say, I'm a fresher. Hello, you cannot make this decision at the age of 23 in your adulthood that I want to get into HR without any knowledge. And I think around us, everybody is working. Someone is driving a cab, someone is managing a security agency, someone is doing a shop. There is a HR, and we all need to understand the HR aspect of it. If you understand it, I think the learning will be really great. I was in the taxi and I asked them how much money you make, how much maintenance you give. They say 40 hours training we get. What kind of training we are getting? How do this company hire? They say reference is the one thing. मैंने अपने 5 दोस्तों को ले आया गांव से, है ना? कोई advertisement नहीं किया. How reference is working? I think freshers needs to be aware about all this. Speak, 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 speak. Listen, 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 listen. Believe me, you will have much more knowledge than even the experienced person.
Yeah.
This is what fresher is. And if after so much experience also, the person can get up at 3 o'clock and learn, it's a huge question mark on our learnability. I think that is the big thing which we are getting. There is a very particular question which has come in the comment box. We have spoken a lot about fresher. However, there are people who are there, maybe 10 years of experience, right? Now they want to, sometimes, in the career, we face the stagnation, and now we want to take off in the other direction. What will be your tips if you want to grow after 10 years of experience?
Yeah. Like I said, ma'am, I'm just about few more years than that. When I was doing my engineering, one of my brothers, currently he is a professor in IIT Madras. So, he used to be very studious. And when I went to my engineering, I sometimes go to him for solving problems. And once, I asked, why on earth am I learning all this algebra and all these things? When am I going to use it in my life? He said, you will never use it. And, that time he gave me an idea that you are in a class of 61 students. You're comparing yourself with 61. You know what is your position among the 61. The moment you pass this course and go out, then you are among probably about 9 lakh seats that were filled only in that state. And if you take all of India, then it's in, big numbers. So lakhs of people are just coming out of, the course that you did. And it doesn't mean that, the employer is only looking for the course that you did. The employability can be found anywhere else, that I know very well now, sitting on the other side of the table. I'm not very particular about what you learned. I mean, if you have it in you, I don't mind hiring. But then your competition is with so many people. Then you should understand where you stand. What are the skills that you have? What is your USP? I mean, if you don't have a USP, any product for that matter, nobody is going to buy. So in job market, you are a product. You should know what are your selling propositions, and you should be able to sell it right also. So if you are at 10 years in your career, by now you should be able to know as a product what you are. The pamphlet of your product is the CV that you are carrying and you're sending to people. And the market that you are trying to sell yourself is the companies and the opportunities that you have. Please do not go and apply for all the jobs that are there telling HR, HRBP and all that. Please understand what are you good at? Where can you sell yourself better? Then shortlist and have an understanding. And this doesn't happen by, today I felt that, okay, I should change a job. So I will start searching now. And in 1 month, you will start getting frustrated because every day you have been sending 50 applications and nobody called you. And even the 2 calls that you received also never turned up. But I mean, I have also done a lot of job hopping. because I've changed many jobs. People used to ask me, how do you find this job? I mean, because it was also because of my passion for HR, I must tell you. And finding a job is an art. It is never it is not just a science also. You have to spend time jotting down what are the job opportunities that are coming. You have to be on top of understanding which are the job opportunities, which market, what kind of companies happening, which industry is going up, which industry is going down, which industry will hire now. And then you should be able to send your profiles there. And when you get a call, it is very similar to fishing also. When you get that call, you should be able to convert it. And there it is purely your sales. After some years in the corporate, I understood that everything is sales. Nothing, sales is the top.
Wonderful. Yes. I think this is very important, whether it's a job, whether it is a business, whether it is anything, very important it is to know sales. Very important. Now, there is one particular question is coming again and again, Rakesh, that is, how much employees' family background matters, because if there is a challenge in the family, there are a lot of complications with the employee at the workplace. So I really don't know the reference of this question, but it is coming out quite often. Is it very important to know employees' family background?
Family background, personally, I can only answer this at a personal capacity. I do not think that should be a constraint for anybody, because we know that people who are coming from the not so privileged in terms of multiple things. I'm not restricting it to one dimension, but in different dimensions, if they are not privileged, that doesn't mean that should restrict that person's growth. So I don't believe in that, because I see each person as an individual and what they can do. If it has to do with some of the comments that I have also happened to see about background verification is an entirely different dimension than family background. It is not just family background.
The world is changing. World is changing. Please understand, in which family you want to take a birth, it is not in your hand. But where you want to take your life is in your hand. God has given us the birth in a particular family with the reason. Your one decision can change your entire family. Okay, so that's how it is important for all of us to understand while making career decisions. Sometimes, I come across a lot of employees who need to make the choice between family and their career. Especially women employees I've come across. I always tell them, right, your one decision can change your family, and not only family, even the generations to come. So make wise decisions, and then you can go ahead about it. Okay. Now, another thing which is very important, if you can give some insights on career transition, because many people are in finance, sales, and they want to get into HR. What can be the tips you would like to share if they want to transition their career?
When you say career transition, can you be a bit more specific about that, ma'am?
So now, for example, I've worked for 4 to 5 years in finance industry, maybe banking and finance, right? Now, over a period of time, I have realized there are XYZ things and I'm not meant for finance industry. Or I want to get into HR role more, right? So is it possible after 4 to 5 years to transition your career in different function?
Anything is possible. As long as you can sell yourself, anything is possible. Just don't think that anything, there is no prerequisite. By the time you have spent some years in it, then like I said, you are no more a fresher. And fresher does not mean that, you're blank. Even a fresher is not blank. That is how we, when there are 100 freshers, then you have to choose only 2, then there is something that you have to choose from them. It is not, everybody is not the same. Same way, when you're trying to change a career, if you think you are at the right place, you have identified that, your selling propositions to apply for that job and sell yourself, by all means. If not, please do not try such adventures.
Absolutely. In that case, Smriti Irani is my role model. If a Miss India can become a TV actress, from TV actress, if she can go into, some other politics, and
Yeah.
she is rocking there, I think everything is possible. Look at, so many people who are into politician become comedian, from comedian. I mean, you are in a golden world, what I feel. The Maslow theory is changing. Food, clothing, shelter is taken care to some privileged people, and you can take chance in your career. Always remember, for transition, there is a process. You need to understand where you want to go, what skills you need, what knowledge you need, what abilities you need. Knowledge, abilities, and skills. Develop those. Manage that transition. When you hit the highway, there is a service lane.
Yes.
So if you manage that service lane, go slow and gradually hit the highway, transition is possible. It's always a strategy and process that makes a difference, isn't it?
100% agree, ma'am.
However, you have not done any transition. I think I've seen you completely in HR all the time.
Oh, but I have changed industries, and people used to ask, why would you step out of your comfort zone? This is the question that I have got many times. Why would you step out of your comfort zone? I said, that is where my learning is, and that is where my growth is. If I am there in the comfort zone, I mean, I love, I read Robin Sharma a lot. I mean, I read everybody a lot, whoever that interests me. That he used to say that, if you feel that you are best in your neighborhood, then change your neighborhood, because then being there is not going to help you anymore.
Absolutely.
So,
I think every job needs only one thing, can-do approach.
Yeah.
Even though if I'm hiring a person from other industry, I will just look into that. Will that person will be able to do this job? And that is where I can do it. That attitude makes a huge difference. And certain basic questions are coming, everyone. Whether nahi matter karta hai, wo education gap वगैरह कुछ नहीं matter करता. Just keep going.
I can give you one example, ma'am.
Sure, Rakesh.
When you ask me, have you done career transition? Very recently, my CEO called me and asked, Rakesh, I think facility management was currently parked under operations. I think operations is when we are setting up, he's getting so much of trouble on that. Can you manage facility for some time? I said, what? I mean, facility management, what am I going to do in facility management? He said, nothing is rocket science here. You can do it. Okay, big deal. I'll do it. So, I mean, immediately I called up the facility manager. I asked him, what are the projects that you do? Simple. Okay, understand the project. Nothing is rocket science, but that's learning.
Absolutely.
And if you have the right attitude, then it is nothing.
Nothing matters. It is only in the mind, and it is only till the time you get that first person who will believe in your ability. That's all. Each one sitting over here was a fresher one time, isn't it? But the person has taken, and it is an open secret. The person has learned, person is reading books, person is upskilling, person is doing certification, person is having mentor. Ye open secret hai, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now you have to take steps. Everyone knows how to lose a weight, isn't it? But that determination, every day getting up and saying, hey, that consistency, I think that makes a difference, everyone, right? So last 10 minutes are there, everyone. Let me see if any particular question, if you have anything which you would like me to take. So madam, if someone is having 9 years of experience, let me tell you, it doesn't matter, your gender doesn't matter. So please put it in the chat box if you have any question.
Ma'am, Bhavna has raised her hand.
Yes.
Bhavna Bhardwaj.
Go ahead with the question.
Hi, ma'am. Thank you so very much. Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. I just have a question regarding to ER only. See, it is very easy for us to, engage with employees, talk to them on a regular basis, continuously, go and listen to them often. In a very small organization or an organization where we have only somewhere around 100 people, that is still easy. But when we move to a organization where we have thousands of employees who have occupied 2 or 3 floors of a building, of a big building in city like Millennium City, like Gurugram, how do we manage that connection with them on a daily basis? How can we do that? That is my question. I mean, how easy or hard it is to manage that communication, that meeting with them daily, getting to know their problems daily, how to manage that engagement with the employees in a big organization?
So Bhavna, this
Yes, sir.
question was completely taken. Okay, so this question we asked at the beginning. However, I would like to add something to this, Rakesh. First question is, if you have many people working with you, how can you maintain employee relations? Just adding one more point in this, how do you manage employee relations when you have hybrid or people working from home kind of environment?
Yeah. Very, very interesting, because we had, I think, one of the discussion when Govind Negi was doing, the topic was this hybrid working environment. I think it was closer to when we were reviving from COVID. So Bhavna, just to understand, is this 3 floors being managed by one HR?
No, of course. So there is a team of HR.
So partial answer is there. You can never be Superman who does everything. You need to have a team to win. So then break down your problem, reach out, maybe 1 floor, 1 person can manage. Then you should have an effective process wherein you are able to collate all this. Even, that is what I also do with my team. So when I was handling 3,000 employees, I had to rely on my team. And then, when you go up the career, this is also one critical thing. How do you manage your radar? Now you can't be doing that every job that you did, but still, if you need to get the pulse, if you need to do a litmus test with 3,000 people, you need to know where to touch and what you need to sense. So that process has to be there. I'm sure whoever is then managing that building with 3 floors, having all employees sitting with 1 employee, 1 team member in each floor, will have a process and a way to collate those information, bring it back, analyze that, and then understand what needs to be done. Another thing, when it is hybrid and other things, technology is our friend, and everybody has a phone, and most of the IT companies have used it, effectively used it. And somewhere, I think in recent times, but then, it has again come to the surface that, people really, man is a social animal, and there is an extent to which you can technologically connect with people and still maintain those relationships. Zoom meetings and Skype meetings and all that are not as effective as, because I think there is some saying that I strongly believed from the start of my career, something that you cannot achieve in a year's correspondence can be done in an hour's meeting, because, our close to 60% of our communication itself is non-verbal. I think more than that. So if that is the case, then which means meeting face-to-face has an impact than you doing it otherwise. But if the situation is such that you cannot do it, then try and find out means by connecting with people through technology. And once in a while, you can still have, because, when we were also brainstorming that time with a lot of HR leaders, it was told that, yes, you can connect, but once in a while, call them for a lunch. Once in a month, if it is 5 people, fine, do that. That has an impact. And I think as long as, we are not so much carried away with the technology and artificial intelligence, I think we will still remain to be human beings.
Wonderful. I think you have given a wonderful thing. And in that, I just would like to add one thing, that is, Bhavna, you can also have a lot of focus group discussions. Okay. Going to different departments, talking to different teams, getting age-wise, gender-wise, job-wise, you can do a lot of focus group discussions. And, that is also skill. How do you create that informal kind of environment? How do you get them to speak? Because ultimately employees also get scared to speak to HR people, right? So how do you make them feel comfortable and they speak to you? Focus group discussion is one thing you can always look into when you have huge number of employees. Surveys is another way, and conduct anonymous survey, which is most important. If you really want to know the pulses of people, conduct anonymous survey, So these are the ways you can reach out to many people. I hope Rakesh and I, whatever insights given to you, gives you a lot of insights, right? Now,
Thank you so very much, ma'am. I
yes.
just have one more question. That is something else. Not a
One
big
sec, Bhavna, I need to take some other questions and we will take that. You please type it in the chat box so that I will take. There is another interesting question, Rakesh, it has come. That is how to engage with the introverts in the organization. Because as an HR, you go, however, they don't open up. So how do you manage that?
First of all, how did you come to the conclusion that they are introverts?
Because they don't speak, maybe.
That doesn't mean they are introverts. So, you need to start by questioning yourself. I mean, if somebody is hesitant to speak, then you need to question your own approach rather than jumping to conclusion that they are introvert. People are different. They respond to different stimulus in different ways. Atmosphere matters, the group matters. But if you sense that somebody is not talking, then you need to really go deep into that and understand why that is, rather than jumping to conclusions that they're introvert. I'll have to do something different for them to get to talk. And it is not necessary that you have to make everybody talk also. I mean, I have seen people who believe I have to come to work, I have to do my work, I have to go home, get my salary, nothing else. Fine. I mean, if that is the way they want, just leave them at that. You don't have to go and poke them and make them talk and all that. They don't like to do that. I mean, you should also be able to sense such people.
I'm able to connect. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm able to connect because I expect people to have that belongingness at any cost. But, not necessary. As you said, people will come. They are giving their 1000%. They're going. They maybe look transactional. However, that's not necessary that they are not happy with you. I think that is important. Second is, I think all HR should know how to do coaching. Coaching skill is very important for HR people, I think. Every HR must know coaching, which will help you.
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. So, last few minutes to go, and can you please precautionary step to avoid a matter of same wages? Okay. Any question? Like Anurag is saying, can you please tell precautionary steps to avoid the matter of same wages for similar kind of a work?
But same wages for similar kind of a work is a requirement, I guess. I mean, if there is a problem, then you should solve it. If somebody is doing the same kind of work, and if there is a disparity, then as an HR, you should intervene and correct it.
Wonderful. So there is one person, Anushika is saying, Madam, I could not do my MBA and I'm feeling guilty of it. Let me tell you, Anushka, we have thousands of students with us in ProTouch who have not done MBA. MBA is also not always necessary for you. There are many professional courses will give you the required functional knowledge and expertise. Okay. So you can take those practical courses and get certification and get your career going. Suppose if you feel like, I want to do it. However, due to time, finance, if you're not able to do it, perfectly all right. You can get into executive MBA, say, for example, 10 years down the line, 6-7 years down the line, when you will have finance, when you will have time, don't worry. Industry is changing now. So, as long as you have a practical knowledge to handle the things, then certainly you will be able to manage it. Don't worry. Don't have that guilt. Okay? Okay. So,
ma'am, I'm sorry.
When
somebody asked about same wage and same this thing, and I'm also seeing some comments about pay ranges and all that. So if that question had some kind of a CNB angle, compensation benefit angle to it, then I would like to say that you should go deep into CNB. Once you go up the ladder in HR, CNB is going to be very, very critical to you. If you do not know CNB concept and you know to handle numbers, if you are not somebody who are comfortable with dealing with numbers, then again, growth will be stalled because it is all about numbers. You should know the concepts of CNB correct. You should be able to draw the right strategy at the right point in time. Set clear, whether it is grading, deciding pay ranges, deciding, what are the kinds of grades that you have to put, what is the kind of market benchmarking that you have to do, and then build your entire pay structure backwards from there. or however you want to do it. There are multiple aspects in CNB. Please learn that and then implement it in the right way. I mean, I can only say that unless it is a specific case.
Absolutely right. And if you can't do it, read one very nice book of compensation and benefit by 𝗥𝗲𝗃. That is a wonderful, very practical book, which gives you a lot of understanding about compensation and benefit. Please understand, if you want to learn something, you may not need to invest very high cost, but invest in books certainly will help you understand. Only certificates will also not give you jobs. That will give you entry. Ultimately, you need to have a knowledge, So please be careful when you are choosing any courses, certifications, careers. Please be mindful about it. Okay. And I think it is 8:27, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful and insightful session, right? And if you have loved the session, I want to see that going on in the chat box. Let me see thank you messages for Rakesh if it is coming out. Yes, let me see that. Wonderful, Rochelle. Thank you so much, Bhavna. Bhavna, thank you for your wonderful questions. Tanisha, Renuka, thank you. Thank you so much. Shubham, thank you. Thanks a ton, Vipul. Wonderful. So, Protej, always keep on arranging, Thursday knowledge sharing session with people like Rakesh, which give us a lot of industry, insights. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rakesh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Over to
Thanks
you,
a
Malika.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
1 second.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rakesh is absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed listening to you and Dr. Aparna. It was absolutely fantastic session. So practical, so thoughtful. Compliments to both of you. I think it was just an amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed the entire 90 minutes of this session. I think we should have one more. Because I think the speed in which the questions are flowing, I think it's only appropriate.
Ye dil mange more.
Time permitting, we should have one.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Rahul, I was taught by good teachers, Rahul. One is sitting with me.
And I can vouch for it.
Certainly, we will have one more session. Definitely, dil mange more. I just love the audience. They kept pouring the questions. And, sometimes it becomes difficult for the moderator that 1.5 hours mein kya bolungi? What will I do? But however, the conversation was so deep and nice. I will remember this conversation for a very, very long time and cherish this. So Rakesh, no matter how much you grow, you will still remain my student.
Of course.
Keep learning, keep doing, keep learning, and may God bless you.
Thank
with
you,
a lot
ma'am.
of success, peace,
Thank you.
and help. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thanks a lot. Be in touch. You can all reach out to me. And Rahul and Aparna, ma'am, please, whenever you touch down Bangalore, please don't go without
we will come. Whenever I come, it is on Facebook. Check in, check out. Kahan pe hu, kya hu. It will be on Insta. It will be on my status. So everyone gets to know that, because I am a very people's person. So I love meeting people. And certainly it's my promise to you that Bangalore mera second Maika hai. Main hamesha bolti hu. So I will certainly come. Okay.
Sure. Okay then. Bye bye.
Okay, everyone. Bye bye. See you.
Thank
Stay
you, ma'am.
tuned for
Thank
the
you,
next
sir.
Thursday session. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye. Okay, great. Is there any question you want to take? Anything? Any particular? Okay, so someone was there. Santosh, you said that you are into academics. Am I right? Right, Santosh? So do not worry. It is quite possible for you to come in the corporate world. Because I myself worked in academics for a very long time, and it is quite possible. Start slow. I will say start slow. Start getting into the network association. Start taking some small projects, and very important, you will be able to shift to corporate world. Okay. In fact, you can remain in both worlds also. So you do not need to choose one. So everyone, those who are here, if you have any questions, Rahul is also here. I'm also here. So if you have any questions, we can still address it.
Aparna, I think there was also a question.
Uh-huh.
I'm not able to pick up that question now, but it
Okay,
was about transitioning from defense services
I
to
know. Only
HR.
thing is this, why I did not answer, take it because Rakesh is not from that
Yeah,
background. So,
yeah.
it
I
would
think
be,
𝗥𝗲𝗃𝗍 is asking. I don't know whether 𝗥𝗥𝗃 is still there right now.
Niharika is there or not, we don't know. However, there are many army officers are coming and doing lot of professional courses like train the trainer, coaching, because that is where they think their second inning has started. So I will suggest that if you can stay in touch with our one of the career advisors, they will arrange a call with us so that we can take it on one-on-one basis.
Yeah, I think 𝗥𝗃 is there right now.
Niharika, did you ask that question? Yes.
Here in the participant list. Yeah.
Great. So I'm sorry I could not take that question because, time was less and it was very specific. Okay, everyone, I think the time has come to say goodbye. Stay tuned for a few more upcoming, knowledge sharing sessions. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your time today.
Thank you, Malika. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye,
Take care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye. Should I end the meeting?
I have a question if you don't mind. Can I go ahead? I'm sorry. I know it's like too
Go
late.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't worry. Yes.
Okay. Hi, this is 𝗥𝗧𝗃. Actually, I also had a word with Komal yesterday. So basically, the question of finance, transitioning from finance and taxation to HR, I had put in that. So, but actually, I'm really confused. I have a 5 years plus experience. I am a semi-qualified chartered accountant and a lawyer. And now I have a 5 years experience, including my articleship in taxation and finance. I'm right now working in finance, but I don't know, I have a passion for people. I know it's not just about saying that I'm a people person and everything, but throughout my career, I've always loved interacting with people, helping them out. And I think after my 9 to 5 job, one thing which drove me was always the initiatives which were around people, helping them out or anything like that. So I am currently pursuing MBA executive from IIT Ghaziabad and want to take specialization in HR. And I also want to pursue some certification from ProTouch and everything. But I'm now confused whether I should take HR generalist or a learning and development course. I think these are 2 other fields now. So
So I would like to, we have understood your question. We will take insights from Rahul also. Only few insights I would like to give it to you. What is that strength you bring it to the table is your number, passion towards numbers. And vis-a-vis HR people in HR department, many times it is rare to find people who are number loving. Okay. Wow. You can have a great scope in analytics, but you need to go through HR first for that matter. Right. Third very important thing which I get to see the plus point in you is you come from a lawyer background, law. And, if you look at it in HR, this is the rare combination of numbers plus legal, which is very important because HR needs to make a lot of decisions about employee hiring, agreement, sometimes even terminations. And that is the time HR needs to be very careful about the legal implications. And that is where you can bring in a lot of contribution. So for me, as long as you have fallen in love with HR, go ahead. You have some strength to talk about. So that will be my contribution. Over to you, Rahul.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Bhuvika, I think if you're very sure about it, I think the question is how much you believe in it. If you're absolutely sure about going to HR, anyone, in my opinion, anyone can transition from anywhere to anywhere. I don't think so. That should be a big concern. Only challenge that comes is when you have too many conditions attached to it. Because it is not going to be a painless exercise. You will bring in some competencies coming from finance, but you will also have to be taught a lot of other competencies for the organization you're moving in or the role that you're moving in. You know, many times people say, "Mere ko same salary chahiye, I want the same kind of level. I want, you know, people should value my 5 years of experience." You know, if all those constraints are there, let me tell you, you know, you're only diminishing your chances. You know, if someone is willing to take a, you will always get opportunity. If you're doing the transition, you should do the transition saying that for the first 2 years, I am willing to do whatever comes my way, and I will catch up as I get some experience in HR. I think that's a more practical approach. I'm not saying people will not value, but people may. But you can't have a condition that people should. You know? I think that is one, and you should be prepared. It's going to be, it may going to be a painful exercise. But if you're clear, I don't think so there is anything that can stop. However, my one request to you would be, if you're still working in any organization, your best chance of doing this transition is with your current organization. Because that is one place where you will, without compromising on your salary, without compromising on your level, you can easily make a transition into HR. They may not give you the very hot job in HR, but they will let you transition without compromising on salary. Any other organization you go, they will have the same question. Why did you do this transition in your last organization? Why are you coming to us for a transition? So I would suggest, if you're working in an organization, request them for this transition, because they will be more open to have this transition. They may not give you the best job in the HR, they will give you some job in HR. You know, ask for some project in HR, give me some project in HR, give me some exposure in HR, and then prove yourself and transition into HR. I think that's the best way forward for it.
So, Bhumika, right? So, thing is this, you know, internal transition is very easy. First thing is very important, don't leave your job. Not at all. I mean, that is not a suggestion that if you are in transition, leave a job and focus on something, and please carry forward with your job. That is one very important thing I would like to mention. Find out if you can take maybe 10% role in HR related activities, that is also fine. And gradually transition can happen. However, if you suddenly want to go from first gear to fifth gear, which will be very tough for you as a transition, right? As we heard that right now you are driving maybe a car and you are going to sit in a bus directly, it will be very tough for you, right? Hence, transition has to be done gradually. It can be testing time also, right? So you do, instead of going for a big course, you're going for 3 months course. Instead of investing in lakhs, you're investing in thousands. You know, instead of investing in 2 years full year courses, you're investing in 3 months course. You test the water and then you make a decision, right? You're a finance person. You can understand how the risk management can be done, isn't it? So that's how the transition should be managed. Okay.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am and sir. But sorry, just one thing more. Like, now I am a little confused again, like HR or learning and development, like these two are again separate fields. Even in my organization, there is one department is L&D, which is different, and one is HR, which is different. Now,
you know, Bhumika, I will suggest, who is your career advisor?
Komal.
So ask Komal to arrange a call with us, please, because it is also, you know, our team is also on till 8:45 now. So let's have a call, because I can understand it's a personal, you know, career counseling, which can be done offline. Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
ma'am.
everyone. Good night. Thank you for entire Protesh team
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
joining.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night.